Garfield Kart is hard. It's hard. I've just been spending a while building up coins and winning these races and some other things to try and unlock that mysterious fourth question mark cup. And I've done it. It's unlocked, or at least I've got a try it for it now, which is more than I had before. I got gold cups in all the 50cc's and I got what I could in everything else. Look at the 150cc's, I've got bronze in all of these. These are relentless. 100cc's bad enough, but 150 is just cruel. It's torture playing this. I can't believe how hard it is with little kids. And then there's the time trials, which I spent a long time in as well. I got a gold medal on the first course here. That took a lot of effort. In fact, I'll show it off, why don't I? If you get these medals in the time trials and beat the UFO, which is like the Mario Kart ghost for this game, you get more coins and you even get items and stuff. And if your prize is an item that you already own, you can sell the thing for more money, so it's all quite nice. But what I've been doing is I've figured out a setup where I get the top speed possible, which I absolutely need. John Arbuckle with the piece of trash Muck Madness car and the stained spoiler free stars gives him the fastest speed possible. The character you've got combined with the car and the spoiler you've got gives you various different combinations of stats. If somebody other than John was driving this like Garfield, they change. It's all strangely complex and elaborate for a Garfield game. Arlene, she's Garfield's girlfriend. Well, almost. She's still working at it. It's only been 40 years. Anyway, I have the absolute maximum possible speed that you can have in this entire game, assuming that is the speed stat. I don't know why it wouldn't be. But with the absolute max speed possible, let's see how just look at how relentless the time trial is, why don't we? Let's see how easy of a job we have with this. I like John Arbuckle for various reasons. Now, I've also discovered there's a skid mechanic to this game. Ugh, instantly restart. My reflexes have trained me in all of this work. Oh, there's a platinum medal as well that I just see there. There's an even bigger medal. I'm never going to get that. So I've got the highest speed that a human being can possibly have in this game. And the time trial ghost, as you can clearly see, is way out in front of me. I've already done quite badly in this race so far. Like by my standards, especially there. Ugh, but I'm putting up a fight, and right, this is the thing I discovered. This here, you got to speed boost through there and keep hopping over the mud so that you don't get slowed down. That went really well. It's a good shortcut, and the UFO is miles in front. Look at this. How are the little kids supposed to deal with this? I can't believe it. Is Garfield Kart the new Winnie the Pooh's Home Run Derby? Because I think it should be. This thing is relentless. I dread to think of even trying to get all the gold cups in all the cups. Because, I mean, even if you do these courses perfectly, then you could just get completely slaughtered by all the really cruel and unavoidable power-up items that all the other characters have. You can be in first place, and you can just get knocked back to 6th in a heartbeat from a couple of items thrown at you. It's so random. I know they say Mario Kart is as well, but I feel strong suspicion that this is a lot less fair than Mario Kart ever was. Are we going to get the gold medal? No, we're not. I think we're too slow for the gold medal. Yeah, the platinum medal had to be 5 seconds faster than that. Okay, the UFO seems to go at whatever speed the next medal is that you're able to get. So he went at the platinum speed, but that was me with the absolute maximum possible speed. I made some mistakes there, but even if I hadn't made those, I certainly would not have shaved 5 seconds off my time, I can guarantee you that. I could have done that completely flawlessly, and I don't think I could have got that time. I don't know what Garfield Kart expects of the player. I really don't. I'm genuinely astonished how brutal this is. I could have understood. At first I thought, oh, you've got to upgrade your car and stuff. You've got to earn coins and get better equipment, and then by the end you'll have all the best stats and everything. But no! even if you look at like the really expensive cars, I haven't bought any cars, but if you look at these 2,500 coin cars, which take ages to get enough coins to buy, look at that, look, see that? It doesn't really make, but it lowers his speed a lot and ups his lightning a bit, but like none of his stats, or the average of his stats doesn't seem to be higher than it was with the boring, cheap, free car. If you took all of his stats and added them up, I think they'd come to pretty much the same. So, upgrading your equipment is not going to help, as far as I can see. And I mean, yeah, different characters have different outcomes from these cars. Like the girly girl car, you'd think, oh, maybe Veterinarian Elizabeth. Maybe Veterinarian Elizabeth will have more of a good stats from that. But no, they're exactly the same as John's. And Arlene gets slightly better than the top and bottom ones, but it's all really quite shockingly hard. I'm very impressed. I've had a blast with Garfield Kart. There's nothing I like more than a challenge. I've certainly had a challenge from this. It's been an absolute... It's been a complete slaughterous battle to get all these bronze medals in these tracks that you see here, and a couple of silver ones. But you've got to understand that I've gotten these... Each one of these medals I've earned from literally hundreds of retries. Hundreds. Well, okay, some were less than that, but it certainly felt like hundreds, certainly tens. It must have taken me at least 30 attempts on every single one of these to get a bronze, even. So, I must say, the Garfield Kart has impressed me. It's a very difficult game. I've had more fun with this Garfield Kart racing game than I have with any other racing game that I remember. So, good job, Garfield Kart. Anyway, the entire, like... The only reason I was bothering to do that was just to see if I could unlock this final cup. The Ice Cream Cup is its name. And I have indeed done that. Crushingly difficult. Crushingly difficult. But I have unlocked the Ice Cream Cup on all of the CCs. I had to get at least a bronze medal on every one of the other cups on every CC in order to unlock the Ice Cream Cup on any of the CCs at all. I got all of them on all the cups, and suddenly this thing appeared in every single one of them. I still got to pay to play it though. I don't know what I've got to do to earn the right to play this thing without paying for it. I found out that all the other cups that said you can try it for 500 coins, I actually had to get a cup. I had to get in the first... I had to complete one of these cups in the top 3 that came before it, like this easy cup here, and then it would unlock the next one to play for free, and so on. So maybe you got to get more silver and gold cups to unlock, completely unlock this thing, I don't know, whatever. I just wanted to do it to show off the bland tracks that aren't worth showing off. Also, the Jagsway pieces. I picked up some of these Jagsway pieces. And these are also really well hidden, devilishly hidden. I had to hunt around for a while to find even the ones I did find before I just stopped bothering. They hide them in places, really obscure little crannies. They hide them in little nooks and crannies, little side paths. It's just so well hidden. And there's times when you fly off a big chasm and head off way down into some other part of the track. And you've got to fly over that chasm and then turn around, and it'll be the jigsaw puzzle piece will be hiding there at the bottom of the ramp. It's just stuff like that. And there's ones that appear to be way up in the air in places I can't reach. And the game's given some vague hints that you might have to use the spring item that enemies drop that's supposed to be a hindrance. It's a bad item that hurts you, but it makes you rocket into the air. I think maybe you're supposed to lay that thing down next to some place and then land on it so that you rocket in the air and you're stalled for a second, but it takes you onto the higher platform. That's just really unintuitive and like surprisingly surprising for Garfield Kart, for mascot, like uninspired cash grab mascot racer 7054. But there you go. It's just weird, the tension in this. Look at these Jagsway Peasels. I mean, they're not worth unlocking. You don't get any money for them, so I just lost all interest. But here's the pictures. I believe that's a still image from the Garfield show's introduction. I think that's just before the intro ends. So we're just unlocking stuff you could see on the show itself. In fact, these probably all come from the show. Look at John's eyes there. Are their eyes getting even bigger in the last few years? His eyes are almost touching his head. I mean, there's hair. John's eyes are almost touching his hair there. I've never gotten over the massive size of modern Garfield's eyes. His eyes started out really small, like disturbingly small, and then they ended up becoming disturbingly massive. So at some point in the process, as they gradually got bigger and bigger, they must have reached a happy medium at some point, but they just blew it. Garfield's eyes have never been the same again. So that's Cats in the Hood. That was the first track, the bland sunny day track, and he's wearing a vampire cape and it's Halloween decorations in the background apparently. Pale Rock Lake, Crazy Dunes. They're not worth getting, these, but... Wait, was that, is that Garfield dressed up as a girl there? Who's that on the left? I'm kind of curious to see that one. That must be Odie, the yellow. Okay, Garfield and Odie are females. Well, I mean, it's more tolerant times now. They wouldn't have pulled that in the 80s. Unless it was Britain. Britain likes men dressed up as women. That's an old British tradition for some reason. I don't know what that's all about. Drag acts, they call them. Very popular in British pantomimes. In pantomimes in Britain, which if America doesn't have those, they're just stage plays, which are just fairy tales, like Peter Pan and Snow White, except they're usually very tongue-in-cheek, and the main female character is a man in a woman's costume, I believe. Just like Shakespeare plays. Maybe it goes back to Shakespeare. Yeah, in Shakespeare plays, the female characters were played by boys, young children, I believe. So they must have been pretty good at their job to learn all those lines and act as women, but they did that. It's kind of amusing to me that the Elizabethans thought it was more appropriate to have young boys pretending to be grown women than to have actual women being women. It's funny that they were okay with that, but there you go, that's their values. So, in conclusion then, Garfield Kart's relentlessly, brutally, surprisingly hard. This deserves to be the next... This deserves to be the next Winnie the Pooh's Home Run Derby. It totally should be, for racing games. Certainly if you're trying to get goals in all these, seriously, just try it. I challenge anybody to download this thing and play it. This really is a challenge worthy of Garfield. Garfield's game really is. Maybe it was designed to be so difficult that only Garfield himself could ever complete it 100%. Only Garfield could possibly get the platinum medals in the time trials. I mean, you saw that. I want to remind you again, absolute maximum possible speed, 5 out of 5 speed. The handling doesn't matter, because that skid function, where it's like the Mario Kart snaking and sliding. You jump up and then hold right and wait till you see flames in the tyres, and then you do something. I forget what. Press space maybe. It's just all in my instincts now. My mind doesn't know. You press the thing and then they rocket forward a bit, which is very important because it's the only way that you seem to have a chance to reach these medal times. You've got to take every possible opportunity you can to crank out these skids. The game calls them skids. Even then, you can be just totally... It's just yeah, absolute maximum speed. And even that gold medal was extremely hard to get. I'm probably missing something. It'll probably turn out that I've overlooked something and that it's supposed to have been impossible to do what I've done. I don't think so though, honestly. I don't think I have overlooked anything. But anyway, let's have a look then. Are you sure you want to try this cup? I better be sure, because I've not got terribly many coins to spare. Let's go for it then. Let's see what the final set of... Oh, I might as well pick a boost this time, except I won't. There. I got through this whole thing without using the boosts, I'm proud to say at least. I never did use those boosts. Ice cream cup. Okay, let's see what the last set of wholly indistinguishable race courses are in this Garfield racing game. You know, I was trying to think of more Garfield things in the in all the time I spent getting these medals and things, I was trying to think of more Garfield lore that they could have used in this, and I still couldn't think of any. Garfield really is just that lacking in substance. He's just nothing but lasagna and a teddy bear and not liking Mondays and being lazy. Oh, sometimes you get through those alien UFOs without anything bad happening, I don't know what it is. Well, I learned a lot more about the power-ups too. The alien UFOs do indeed, when you use them, it sends these aliens forward. And they are supposed to just get whoever's in first place, basically. If you're in first and you see those things, you want to slow down and wait for someone to overtake you, because they have that much of a horrible effect on you, that it's worth doing that. Man, what is this? Where are we going? Over there. So what is this? Just a temple. It's just a temple. There's not even... Like, they could have had Garfield's face on it. In Garfield Caught in the Act, the PC game, which I've already played on YouTube, there is... All the levels are stock TV settings, like there's the haunted graveyard house of Dracula Odie, Vampire Odie, Vampire Odie, and then there's the Egyptian pyramid. But the thing is, all of these locations have Garfield iconography, and that's the word I'm going to use. In the pyramid level, there's statues of Arlene that clasp forward. There's a Sphinx of John and Sphinx of Odie, and just stuff like that. Little personalised touches like that that make you feel like you're in a Garfield themed thing. But there's nothing like that in this. There is nothing at all like that, and there's all these tracks are just completely nondescript and unpersonalised. They really are just quite literally stock race tracks. You could get these in just a racing cart, make your own racing game engine, the programming engine. They just pack these in with the program. Here's some generic race courses for you to experiment with and test and stuff. That's exactly what these feel like. Which does make me wonder even more if this was just some low-budget racing game that the Garfield team, Paws Incorporated, picked up and decided to use as their mascot racer that they finally decided to make after 40 years. The technology would have been there to make this for at least 30 years at this point, but they've just been holding this back all that time. The world, as Garfield said, the world simply was not ready for Garfield Kart. The Edwardians couldn't deal with this in the 1920s. They would have thought it was witchcraft. They would have burnt it at the stake. Well, they probably would have been more surprised that Jim Davis had managed to invent Garfield 50 years before he was born. Well, that magic wand I just had sends a blue orb forward, and if it hits anybody, then you switch places with them. Although I find that it doesn't seem to do very good, because when I switch places with somebody, then I end up going back to 0 speed, and I've got to accelerate, but the person that I switched with doesn't seem to lose their speed, so they just overtake me. So the thing's just completely useless. Oh, the diamond, don't do it, the diamond, yes. That diamond attaches to you and blows up after a while. You can shake it off if you go on a speed zip arrow. But that's about the only way to shake that thing. The best you can hope for is to have to be near somebody else when it explodes so that they get caught in the blast. Oh, yeah, can you see how much I've learned about Garfield Kart from all the times I've played this? I'm glad that John seems to just get the best speed out of these cars. Nobody else I've got gets this maximum speed that John gets. And I'm pleased with that, because John's my favourite character in this game, because his voices are so stupid. He loves going, hey, hey. Whenever anything good happens to him, he goes, hey, hey. It's just so lifeless, though. Hey, hey. That's his big shout of victory. Hey, hey. He always does it twice in a row, too. Hey, hey. He does it exactly that much. Hey, hey. Anyway, he does that. And then, if he hits a wall, then he makes this big scream of genuine pain. Like, he actually sounds like he's in agony. It's just really out of place and funny. So it's good being John. What is this? I've got to like concentrate to figure out what there is to say about these tracks I'm driving on, because there's just nothing about them. We're on some kind of construction site, it looks like. I think. Let's see, there's a wooden fence over there. Rocks. We're in a kind of desertish dirt path. I mean, where are we? I can't even tell what this is. It's just so bland. There's a city in the background. It's not Garfield's generic American suburb, but it's Garfield's... has Garfield ever even gone to the city, actually? In the strips? I think he just stays in the generic American suburb. Yeah, sorry, I'm still trying to concentrate and figure out what this is. It's just a little dirt path, rickety old run-down area outside the big city that exists somewhere in the Garfield universe. Actually, I just realised, I think they live in a city in the Garfield show, don't they? There certainly are city-looking streets in the intro. So I guess they live near a city now. I wouldn't even call this a construction site. I mean, it just looks like a beaten down area near the city. This is the thing I had to put in hours and hours to unlock, by the way. You'd better be grateful for this. I hope this is probably the first ever footage of this cup on the internet. Nobody's going to have played this long enough to do this. So you're getting an exclusive peek. No, there will be. There'll probably be one, like, all platinum medals in the time trials runs on YouTube. Be all golds, all everything's super deluxe thing. Maybe there's a speedrunning community for Garfield Kart. I mean, there might genuinely be, because the game is hard enough that these people might really actually care. Like, there's a lot of fun to be had, if you ask me, learning all the, like, figuring out how to run these courses as fast as possible. For those time trials on the first 3 cups, I learned all the corners that it's safe to do a skid at, and the best ways to handle everything, or at least to me. I figured out strategies to get me those precious bronze medals, which was the best I could hope for. Oh. Cascou Park. Oh wait, it's a bland park. I really like how they just plop in at the start. It's the laziest thing. It's just such an immediate sign the first time you start any race in this game. If you see that, it's an immediate indication that they didn't care. They did not care. But you know what, even though they probably didn't care, they still managed to make a satisfying racing game to my mind. They still made a game that is fun to try and get these medals. Like, maybe it wasn't meant to be this hard, but it was just, again, they cared so little that they didn't test it properly, and they didn't know that the gold medal is just impossible to achieve. But that's not stopped me. I'm still having a blast trying to achieve these impossible tasks. Whoa, John, no! Have we finished the lap yet? No. Close to it, I'm sure. Yeah, this game really takes a lot from Mario Kart. If you're in the lower rankings, when you're in the middle of a race, if you're far behind everyone, you'll usually get better items out of these item things. I say usually, you don't always. You might get shafted. But when you're in first or second place, you never get anything good. You just get these custard pies, which it looks like there's a way to throw them forward, because the opponents do that, but I've not bothered to figure out how you do it. You've got to wait for somebody to go in front of these. There, that happened. And I mean, yeah, they got ahead of me, but trust me, it would have been worse if I'd actually got caught in those things. So it's a car, this is a park, there's trees and there's a red fence. And that's the invincibility potion. That works like an invincibility star in Mario Kart, except it seems to be a love potion because they come out with hearts. So that's an odd choice, if you ask me, of a thing to be the invincibility power. But then again, the sound it makes is also weird. Bongo drums. Was there a plot where John gets that from an African witch doctor or something like that? I can't imagine what else it would be. Why else there'd be drums playing? Whoa. I don't care if we actually get... I don't care if we get the gold medal in this, so I'm just going to show off these tracks. And it was completely not worth doing so. Can we beat Veterinarian Elizabeth? Veterinarian Elizabeth, no! You won't defeat me! Wait, John Arbuckle's not Garfield. I can't let you win, Veterinarian Elizabeth. Except I just did. Let's get third place at least. Well, also, this does have rubber banding AI. If you end up way behind everybody else, then... Oh, that was... I could have done a good thing for that, but I didn't. Except actually I ended up doing good. Okay. But you get a lot of... You're way out in the lead. There is rubber banding. If you're way behind everybody on a track, then the ones in front will slow down. Very obviously, because there was times when I was hunting for those jigsaw pieces and I spent several minutes just exploring, and then I got to the next lap and found that I was overtaking everyone else halfway through the lap. So yeah, they totally slow themselves down for you. One thing that Garfield Kart doesn't have though is Mario Kart's rival thing, where there's always one other racer that's always going to win, because I think it does something, I think it does that to some extent, but they don't always win. Your rival, if there is a rival, they could very well just flat out come in 6th place in one of the races. I think it's just down to these items that can completely mess you over. So the final race of Garfield Kart, is it Rainbow Road? Of course it's not. It's not Garfield's version of Rainbow Road. They should have had a course that was just constructed out of lasagna. The whole thing's just lasagna, but no. No, it's just another boring course. A beach, it's not even a beach, it's just a dirt path beside the sea. That's it, that's our closing out. Oh, there's a ship, that's something. That's the most interesting thing I think I've seen in this whole thing. An old 15th century galleon. Garfield. Garfield. So I would encourage anybody to download and play. Well, I wouldn't encourage anybody to do this. If nobody's as masochistic as me to enjoy these insanely hard games, but an insanely hard game where there's clearly no work put into it and the courses are all boring. I wouldn't recommend it, but I did have fun with it. That's what I'll say. I had fun with Garfield Kart. So good job, Garfield Kart. And I can officially say, I don't know why everyone hates it. Because it's cheap and tacky and the cash in. Just like, I mean, everything Garfield does is a cash in. This is no different. I was expecting this game to be much less enjoyable for me. Oh, I missed that speed thing. Oh no! You really slow down when you go into these patches. There was one farmyard course. I think it was the first track on the Pizza Cup. Which I spent... I think possibly I spent the longest trying to get the time trial medal in that than I did out of any of these courses. And there's one part of that where there's this big winding path you're supposed to take, but there's a shortcut through this muddy dirt patch that slows you down. And if you do a skid into it and then keep jumping with the perfect timing so that you jump, so that you're in the air so much that you barely slow down at all, you barely get decelerated, then you can... that's a shortcut. There's things like that, little tricks. Oh, John Arbicle's so upset. And have you noticed his screams, by the way? That one of his cry of distress when he gets hit. He's so... It's a real visceral yelp. It's like really, like as if the actor had actually been smashed into a wall. I feel John's pain. John Arbuckle. One of the characters is a mouse called Squeak. I don't know if that's an actual character now, if there's actually a mouse called Squeak, or if it's just one of the mice. Is it just like Toad in Mario Brothers? There's not an actual mouse. There's just a bunch of interchangeable mice. Yar, me hearties! Maybe that's the ship of the skeleton ghost pirates from the Halloween special. The Pirates of Chartered Accountancy. Maybe it's them. But no, it's not, because nothing has any life in this. Even, well, but those ghosts are dead, so yeah, they don't have any life. Oh yeah, maybe that is them. This would be the perfect game for the dead ghosts to be in. A lifeless Garfield kart racer. That would be poetic justice if they actually appeared in this track. Maybe they'll show up when we cross the finish line in the last lap. Maybe they're the final boss. The ghost skeleton, the Pirates of Chartered Accountancy. It's possible. Let's hold out and see. I'd never close my mind to things. The Pirates of Chartered Accountancy could appear right here. Oh, look at this. Look at that. I'm glad that happened. I'm glad I got to show that. If someone uses UFO right at the end like that, then look, you can get completely messed up. If I'd let that second racer go past, if I'd stopped and let him go past, then the person in third and fourth probably would have gone past me as well before I could accelerate. That's what you get. Okay, so I believe, yes, we have won the Ice Cream Cup. Yeah. They should have named this cup something really clever. They should have called it the 1989 Halloween strips where Garfield's house is abandoned and he goes insane from the despair. That would have been a good one. That whole sentence I just said should have been the name of the cup. It wasn't. Okay, so let's see what the inevitable underwhelming reward is. I don't think underwhelming is the word. It wouldn't have. There was no possibility of it whelming me. No whelming was going to take place at this point. I already know there's just nothing that's going to come out of Garfield Kart that's worth doing it for. But like a idiot. But like a virgin, which is what I am. I just went straight through the. I played all these things anyway, knowing nothing was going to come out of it. Nothing of worth would happen. The Ice Cream Cup. What do we get? What's our prize? Our prize is the... Oh! The game really wants me to show you everything. The prize is the glitched menu screen, which sometimes happens, where there's just nothing here at all. Sometimes you go back to the menu from one of those time trials that you spent countless retries trying to get the bronze medal in, and you end up greeted by this blank screen with just the background and no menu items. And if that happens, then it means that you've got to close the game and restart it again, and it won't have saved your progress for the last thing you did, so you got to do that time trial again. That happened to me 3 times in a row. Or maybe it was just 2 times in a row. Well, it happened more in a row than I would have liked it to. So that's nice. I was hoping to show you see what came out of that, what the prize was, but we don't even get to find out. But I think it's fairly safe to say that my prediction that the Pirates of Chartered Accountancy were gonna pop-up is not gonna happen. I don't think the Pirates of Chartered Accountancy are gonna appear under any circumstances in Garfield Kart. So I'm marking this case closed. That's all of the tracks that no person on the planet ever needed to see, including the programmers. They should have just put blindfolds on themselves while they were making this game. It would have come out the same way, probably. And then we need to just like Garfield wore, the blindfold he wore in some strip somewhere. Let's just assume that there was one at some point. And that's Garfield Kart. I hope you enjoyed my karting game. It is, after all, the best game ever made. What? I'm sorry. I don't think I heard you correctly. Did I hear you say you didn't enjoy my game? Please tell me again what exactly it was you said while I'm staring you in the face. That's what I thought.